Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm just letting a few more people join us. Great to see everybody again this afternoon, or this evening, the morning, whatever time it is with you. Still a few people joining us, so bear with us a few minutes. We'll start in a second. It's exciting. The first conference of 2023. It's amazing. Isn't it going to be an exciting year? I can feel it. There's still a few people joining us in the waiting room. We'll give them a chance to connect. Okay, I think the waiting room is just about empty. There's a few connecting still, but we shall start because we've got lots of exciting things to get through. So like I say, welcome to the first conference of 2023 about global thinking and improving your school. And we've got some great subjects, speakers lined up for you. Introduce the Global School Alliance as we're hosting this conference. And those of you who aren't already members, you should be, and I'm here to tell you off for not being one, but it's a fantastic community that you should be part of. Basically, we want to connect educators and inspirational schools around the world to improve outcomes for students, to create global citizens, and we've got some amazing transformational opportunities to share with you and get involved in things like this free conference where you can learn more from best practice from some amazing speakers. So it's a free community to join. Like I said, we've got 7,000 members now, which is fantastic. 25 different countries represented around the world, and I intend to visit at least half of them. So I'm waiting for you all to invite me, okay? And obviously our vision is to create excellent global education for everybody, and this is one of the ways that we do it. So join the community, take part. We're always looking for speakers to participate, like these fantastic people who are here today, and share your blog posts, share your experience, get involved in partnerships, and just improve the outcomes for your students. Like I say, it's free to join. So we have our LinkedIn page, we have a Facebook page, and then we have the amazing platform. On the platform, you can send messages to each other, just connect through the news feed. There are great blogs on there. There's a project forum you can join to see if there's any projects you fancy connecting with. We have our student council, which is fantastic. We had the primary student council this morning and had some amazing presentations for some lovely students in. So confident because they were about 9 or 10 years old. There was a group in India that decided that they wanted to do a project on forest fires. There was a group in the UK that was telling us all about how they celebrated Christmas in their school, and it's fantastic. And they've decided to look at school lunches as a project moving forward. Basically, what food everyone eats around the world, what you do at your lunchtimes, and whether you like it or not, your opinion of school dinners. So that's going to be an interesting one. We meet half-termly for that, so that's definitely worth joining the student council and participate in all the wonderful free opportunities. Like I say, these events, you can join the events. There is our school awards framework. So the school awards is how we recognize, like I said, these are recently winning schools that started on their bronze level. It's how we can recognize and support you in a program to develop to become a gold accredited, recognized, worldwide recognized global school. And basically based on the lovely provision that you can provide for your students. Gold level is when we all have a long-term relationship between two schools that enable student trips to visit, and hosting student trips, and great sharing of practice between the schools, developing that lifelong relationship to share culture and language and develop global education. So by all means, would be please join and see. I think you find most of you are probably at our bronze level, so you can apply for your bronze award right now and start that journey. Our focus this year is most definitely changing lives, and we think the school trips is one of the main ways that you can have a huge impact on students. It's such a life-changing experience to go on a trip with peers to a foreign country, learn about another culture. It just the personal trip they get out of that, the personal development they get is amazing, which is why we're really focusing in very much on supporting these activities for students at the moment. So our current program, which we launched just before Christmas, and there is a new cohort at the moment, we are offering 20 places in a full transformation program where we can support you and your school to do the whole journey to be gold accredited. So basically, we will support you with setting up partnerships, setting up a virtual partnership, setting up a sister school partnership, helping with the trips, helping with hosting when we can do reciprocal trips. We want to also recognize the international coordinator, that person who is that point of contact in schools that does the extra work, wears that extra hat, and provides it, is the person who draws it together and provides all these opportunities. We want to recognize them with a certificate, and accreditation as well. We think these people need celebrating and deserve a recognition. So we have a training program for international coordinators embedded in that. We will help set up the partnerships by sending teachers on leadership delegations to meet schools to help set up the partnerships. So it's a whole program that covers accreditation, amazing experiences for students on and offline, and training for staff. So this is a special program we're running at the moment. That the service fee to run that is reimbursed when we get you to gold level. So the whole aim is we make you successful and you get your money back. And you provide amazing experiences for students. So check that out. You'll be able to see it on the platform, or you might have received emails about it anyway. But if you fancy our support to get you to gold accreditation, please sign up for that, or have a call with me to have more details if you like. If you're in the UK, obviously we like to try and signpost funding. The Turing scheme will be opening again soon. That is for UK schools to go and visit their partner schools around the world. We will offer a support as part of our programs to help you with that application and the subsequent trip. So ask about that too. We have some, like I said, amazing speakers. When I finish my intro now, I will hand over to John and we will go through the speakers, and you'll find out these amazing people we've got to share their experiences with you. Don't forget, use the chat function, say hi in there, tell us where you're from, introduce yourselves, and also to put your questions in. If you want questions, if they pop into your head while the speakers are speaking, drop it in the chat so we can remember it, or put your hand up at the end when we've got the question and answer session, and get involved. This is supposed to be an interactive session, so please join in, ask your questions, and obviously continue the journey, to continue the questions and conversations on the platform and through our social media. So we obviously, like I said, we like to make it interactive. We like to get you involved. So we have a poll. We want you to share your opinions with us. So the poll today is basically how much global thinking impacts your school and your curriculum. So basically within your school, is global education, global thinking a big part of your school ethos? Is it in there, but it could be better? Or are you just starting to think about we need to have global dimensions in our curriculum, or you haven't even got there yet, the school doesn't consider it and you need our help to make them think about it? So please take part of the poll. Hannah, are you okay to launch the poll? You've got 4 answers, and as usual I can't see it, so I am relying on Hannah to tell me that it's launched and people are participating.
Yep, we just filling them in now.
Wonderful, thanks guys. The more the merrier. We want to see have a good cross-section of where people are coming from. It'd be really interesting to see where schools are at with their thinking about their global dimensions and getting it embedded within the curriculum, because I think to have the biggest impact, it does need to be embedded. So we need to be supporting teachers and everybody to get that vision as a shared school vision. Has everybody had the chance to fill it in? I think most people have done it. We all have to go. Wonderful. Hannah, would you like to tell me the results, because I can't even see the results either?
So we've got 32% said it's a big part of my school ethos. 45% said it's considered but could be improved. 13% said that the early stages, and 10% said not considered at all.
Not bad. So it is starting to be, there are more than I thought there would be of schools actually it was within the ethos, and ones that are getting there, which is fantastic. Thank you everybody for participating. We'll obviously be sharing this information after the conference as well. And like I say, the other participation we like to do is that we make you get involved, and you've all got to put your cameras on for this. No hiding. I do nag. I'm going to give you a few minutes to brush your hair, practice your smile. I'm going to stop sharing so we can see you all. And you need to put your cameras on. You can turn them on again, off again afterwards if you must, but it is nice, especially for the speakers, to see who they're talking to. So if you can possibly all turn your cameras on, we're going to get to my colleagues to take some screenshots. I can still see some cameras off. I won't name and shame, but you know who you are. Put your camera on. We want at least some picture of you, some evidence that you're there. Amazing, fantastic, some great faces. Still some cameras off though. Come on, guys, 2 more minutes and we're going to start taking some screenshots and say hi. I think there's too many with the cameras still off, though. Fantastic, those who I can see. Wonderful. All practice our smiles. We're all happy the way we look. I never look good. I always have my mouth open and my eyes closed, but there you go. Hannah, are we okay to take some screenshots? Practice your smiles, say cheese. And it's great to see you all. Thank you all for joining us. Wonderful. Okay, we okay there, Hannah? We got some pictures.
Yeah, lovely, thank you.
Fantastic. I'll carry on with the we want to get to the exciting bit now, don't we? I do like seeing your faces, but basically we want to get on and share our amazing theme and our amazing speakers. So I'm going to hand over to John, who's going to introduce our amazing speakers for today. Thanks, John.
Great. Thank you, Tony. A warm welcome to everyone joining us from the Global School Alliance. You are the most important people in the world, and it's always a real privilege to work with fantastic global educators. We're very proud to be joined by 4 wonderful educators today who have really contributed to some very powerful global thinking across their school. So a warm welcome from India. Hello, shahnazoja is from Delhi Public School, the international coordinator there, 14 years at the school, and a teacher of social sciences and the Sustainable Development Goals. A science and management degree from Nagpur University. Shahnaz was the recent winner of a prestigious Global Sustainability Teaching Award last year. So congratulations for that, Shahnaz, and powerful tribute to all your fantastic work with the SDGs. Moving across now to Tunisia, Sorsen Essid, who is a senior English teacher at Menzel Abaderi School in Tunisia. Also a winner of an eTwinning award, a great supporter of eTwinning, which I know we all are, for the most outstanding eTwinning project. So congratulations for that tribute, Sorsen. Also a Microsoft Innovative Education Expert, and also a winner of the Global Teacher Award. So again, we're surrounded by winners here. So great to have Sorsen with us. And moving across now to Egypt. And hello, Nesreen, the wonderful Nesreen Naweldin. Nesreen is the Vice Principal at the British Columbia Canadian International School in Cairo. A teacher of Arabic education, Nesreen has a master's degree in quality management. And again, a really long-term, fantastic commitment to all aspects of delivering high quality global teaching and learning skills and leadership. So great to have you with us, Nesreen. And last but not least, back to the UK, and it's a big hello to Matt Trevor. Matt is the Deputy Head Teacher at Woodthorpe Junior and Infant School in Birmingham, 16 years a teacher, and Matt was a volunteer at 2 quite recent major sporting events, the Olympic Games in London when it was held here a few years ago, and most recently, the Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. And Matt has a passion for travel and technology, 2 very important attributes for all this fantastic commitment to global work. So we'll be hearing from 4 fantastic speakers. A big thanks to all your commitment. And as Tony said, please join us if you want to contribute to further webinars as well. But without further ado, it's hello, Shahnaz, over to you.
Thank you, Matt.
Hello, Shahnaz. Yes, we can see it.
Yes, thank you, John. Hello, everyone. I'm shahnazoja, and I'm a social science educator at Delhi Public School, Lava, Nagpur, India. And I'm also an SDG coordinator as well as an international collaborator working with the school. We can't save the world by playing by the rules, because the rules have to be changed. Everything needs to change, and it has to start today. These are the words told by Greta Thunberg. She's a climate activist. I welcome you all to today's webinar on Global Thinking Can Improve Our Schools. Global thinking is the need of the hour, quite rightly said by Greta Thunberg. Change is inevitable, and we can never do it alone. Hence, global thinking is a must. But why is that become so necessary today? Because somewhere we have realized that global incidents, events of celebrations, catastrophes have the power to impact everyone in every part of the world. It's not like our world events never impacted us earlier. But today, with rising connectivity, through travel, technology, we are more connected than before. We now realize the need for global thinking politically, climate tracking, education, and technology for the well-being of humans globally. The pandemic was a wake-up call for all to think globally. We were compelled to do so. As I already introduced myself as Shahnazoja from Delhi Public School, Lava, Nagpur, India, my school has been in the forefront of global thinking. The school's vision is that of engaging the students in meaningful experiences, equip them with 21st century skills, and build a community of globally responsible citizens. Today's student is a global thinker. It's now for the schools to integrate global thinking into their vision, curriculum, and goals. This can be done by connecting the path of success through collaborating local thinking with global thinking. With rising connectivity, students have been fascinated by the mysteries of the world and its unraveling. Teachers are using the digital platform to add enhanced learning among their students. The exposure to international resources in education has multiplied the knowledge arenas, educators, and schools. A student today is a global citizen, aware of global issues. He has ideas, solutions, and opinions. Global thinking has impacted schools into finding pedagogies that suit the student's method of learning. School curriculum have history, geography, current events, happenings that is happening everywhere in the world. A global dimension to learning subjects and topics should be imparted through active learning strategies like case studies, projects, etc. Pedagogies of teaching has now become universal. Educators should be trained professionals to cater to updated knowledge and information. A global educator should have the skills to teach the topics through various strategies. Students should be taught to develop empathy so that they can analyze their emotions and become conscious of their social responsibilities. Global thinking allows understanding of global complexities and intercultural differences. This builds up tolerance and respect for others, which finally leads to the harmony in the world. This synthesis of understanding will eventually lead to better policy decision-making by future governments. To implement our vision, our school is a member of Global School Alliance, Climate Action Schools, and Global School Advocate programs. Our school conducts collaborations with various international schools to understand the dexterity of culture, traditions which make up the world. At the onset, we shared a beautiful padlet on Christmas greetings with our Global Alliance members, and all of them added their wonderful messages on it. We shared something very positive, and I'm sure it must have added few smiles on everyone's faces. a school in Kazakhstan is celebrating their 10th year of commission, and we are joining with them to celebrate their anniversary. A child from our school belonging to 8th standard, she is going to give personal message to the school on the 6th of February 2023. I guess this is a very emotional moment for both the countries. We formed an unseen umbilical cord with them through this simple act, a lifelong learning. Our collaborations with Scotland, Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt on storytelling was an amazing sharing of folk tales from both the countries on both the sides. Last academic session, we conducted such collaborations, 50 such collaborations, and we learned a lot about each country's culture, their work life and education systems. Partaking with NASA. Partaking with NASA by our schools opened vistas of STEM in them, right from making prototypes of satellites, parachutes. The students from grade 9th literally worked for the Artemis mission Mars. We organized international SDG collaborative projects, and we are now in cohort 4, and we have worked on SDG 3, 4, 15. And now we are going to start with another collaborative project from the 9th of February. We let the school students in our projects, we let the school students choose an SDG and work on it using the design thinking formula. They work independently and collaborate over solutions and implementation of solutions in breakout rooms. This way, the students can find global solutions to local issues and also know the frequency, intensity of the SDG related problems in their partner countries. But despite all, the question still persists. What do we gain from global thinking? And the answer is, pandemic made us realize how vulnerable we are to global happenings. Equipping ourselves with benefits in the long run. What are these values that we learn? The first one is communication. Dialogues. They keep the chains of communications open and has the ability to resolve conflicts and prevent them from escalating into wars. Let's be positive. Empathy. Until we develop this skill, we can never understand other person's perspective. We can never build anything because creativity is inspired by empathy. Coordination. Global thinking is nothing but coordinating with the world to curate an environment to interact amicably. Leadership. Someone has to take the onus to get everyone on board. Leaders should help not to imitate each other, but to collaborate with each other. Universalities of ideas. Let us become global citizens with ideas to change the world. What makes our school a global thinking school? We conduct projects to reach communities near us so that we can take the responsibility of our community. For example, we are doing a project on single-use plastics. The government has banned 19 plastic items, but they are still in use. We developed an app in order to capture the pictures of all those banned items which are still available in public, because the public doesn't know what are the banned items and they are freely using it. We conducted a survey and we found that people are not aware that these items are banned, and at the same time they find that it is very convenient for them to use plastics, and they are not even aware that these plastics can harm the environment and can bring about a change in the climate. So what we are doing is communicating, creating awareness, generating awareness among the local people. Our collaborations include cultural exchanges, which broadens our mindset and brings harmony to the world by looking beyond the immediate horizons. We took part in the language month of Philippines. Philippines was celebrating its language month and we got to collaborate with them. And it was so good that they took us to the breakout rooms, and in that breakout rooms, they taught us Filipino. So we know a little bit of the language, and it's so sweet. We keep learning about the political dynamics of various countries to sensitize them about the political happenings around the world, because they have an impact on the world economic scenarios. We study about the governments in various countries through case studies and learn why they succeed or why they fail. And we also study about what is the condition which gave rise to such powerful dictators, and what are the conditions which bring about their downfall. What is a common link between the French Revolution and even the revolutions today, which is taking part in different parts of the world? We studied about the women problems faced in Iran, the women uprising as a part of a civics chapter on gender equality, and found that there were many supporters for the cause. Many were aware that such a thing is happening in one part of the world, and hence, when we include these current events in our classrooms, we are planting the seeds of change in this generation. The classroom is changing. Let us make our classrooms a global stage of learning. I hope the work done by us adds to the immense responsibility this generation asks us. Let us pass the flag of peace, harmony to the next generation. Thank you for your patient listening.
Fantastic, Shahnaz. That was really wonderful. Thank you. And some wonderful quotes in there, particularly the quote at the end. And also you spoke about the global stage for learning, that
Yes.
all schools can be, and certainly that universality of ideas, which is very
Absolutely.
much the Global School Alliance. So thank you for that. That was really, really wonderful. Okay, so we move now from India to Tunisia. Our friend Sausan Esid. Unfortunately, Sausan can't join us today, but she sent a video talking about her own commitment to whole school global thinking, and in particular, her great success with e-twinning. So we'll see Sausan's video now.
Hello. I'm very happy to be with you today in the Global School Alliance Conference. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Sausan and I am an English teacher from Tunisia. I teach in a state middle school and my school is mixed. Our students are 12, 13, 14 years old. Let me talk about the international work that we are doing in my school. Well, to start with, our school has been involved in international work since 2017 with the participation in the eTwinning platform. I also have been an active member of the eTwinning platform since 2017 as well. Well, my students and I participated in many eTwinning projects with many European teachers and students. And with the integration of eTwinning in our school, our students discovered new cultures, new traditions. They also showed a great readiness to know more about different cultures and customs. They also became more aware of the topic of etiquette and how to be safe online. That is why our school has really emphasized our students' e-safety, and that is why we take part in the celebrations of the e-safer day each year. So the e-safety policy is really important in our school, and to make our students aware of the importance of being safe online. Moreover, our students' speaking skill has improved a lot since we organize many video conferences with our foreign partners, which also helped them level up their English as well. So because, you know, we are using English as a language of communication in our project. Well, in 2020, my students and I won the prize of the best eTwinning project in Tunisia. And also our school won the European School label, which enabled us to be recognized at the European level. That is in order to establish partnerships with European schools and exchange teaching methods and expertise. Our students have become global citizens as well. They no longer have this kind of shyness or fear to talk to foreigners. They gain self-confidence and became more motivated to learn and collaborate. I also discovered that my students have lots of talents such as music, drama, ICT, coding, and robotics. So I tried to develop these talents. For example, we took part in the Europe Code Week. We integrated arts in our projects. In 2021, we joined the International School Award, the competition which is under the supervision of the British Council. And for the first time, my students discovered the topic of the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals. They were very motivated to know more about the SDGs. This competition, in fact, gave us the opportunity to collaborate with international schools. We worked on many SDGs such as SDG 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 13, and 16 with schools from India, from Pakistan, from Bangladesh, and Tunisia. To work on the SDGs, by the way, I tried to develop the skill of critical thinking for my students to think about the SDGs and how we can achieve them. So they've been taught about the SDGs, the number of SDGs, the name of the SDGs, and now I try to install this kind of motivation to know how to find some solutions or how to achieve these SDGs, practical solutions in a way. That is why we achieved many really nice work. We tried to give these practical solutions. For example, we made interviews and questionnaires about SDG 5 and 10. We collected people's opinions and then we reflect on them through a class debate where students gave their opinions about the results of this questionnaire. Then we discovered that in classes, for example, here in Tunisia, girls are the dominant. They are in general the best learners, who show more readiness to work and engage in educational projects. And this project was selected, luckily, as a case study by the British Council. And we also won the ISA, so we're really very happy to be an awardee of this international competition, which gave our school a global dimension. And of course, we are ready to any international partnerships and collaborations with schools from Europe, from England. That is really something very important to know, that our school is recognized now internationally. Also, thanks to eTwinning, I have now access to the computer science lab. But one day I wish to have my own classroom, well equipped, and of course with access to the internet. This year we did not stop working. We are working on a new eTwinning project, to which I am the founder, and the project of course deals with SDGs. We did not stop working on SDGs. We are really digging on that topic. Now our project is composed of around 200 students from Europe, and 15 teachers from Europe and Tunisia. And now we are really making really very hard work to make our students really global citizens, really aware of what is going on around the world, and of course in collaboration with European students and schools. Well, I want to say something very important, which is my student and I are highly motivated, and of course our school principal and staff are also encouraging, and they are very helpful. They really make everything easy for us to work, to collaborate. Now I am a member of the Global School Alliance platform, and I'm really proud of it. We are ready to work and collaborate with international schools. As I said, my students and I are really ready, very motivated, excited to work in collaboration with the school around the world. And this international work really gave us the opportunity to have access to many international resources as per English resources and teaching method, SDGs, and this international work as well pushed us to work harder and for the best of our learners, of course. That is really something very important to say. Thank you very much. Thank you, John, for this opportunity. I'm looking forward to meeting you all in other future conferences. Thank you.
Fantastic.
That is amazing. But I was just saying, has Sorsan actually joined us live? Are you with us this afternoon, Sorsan, as well as your recording? I wasn't sure if I did see that she'd joined the community. If she is here, would you like to unmute and say hi? I'm not sure if she did in the end. Are you there?
Hello.
Hi,
Hello.
Sorsan.
Oh, you're
Hi.
here, Sorsan. Great.
Finally, I'm here. And I can join you, but I cannot turn off on my video. I just want to say thank you very much for this amazing opportunity and this amazing conference. Thank you, John. Thank you, Johnny. Thank you all for the attendees. I'm looking forward to meeting you again in other live conferences. Thank you very much. It was an honor. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sorsan. And thanks for your commitment as well to eTwinning. And certainly the Global School Alliance community is all about that collaboration. So the platform provides a great space to find partners and really get involved in those great projects. So thank you for that, Sorsan. Really great you could join us as well. Okay, so moving across from Tunisia to Egypt. And it's a big hello to our friend Nesreen Araldin, who will tell us about her great work to support and embed global thinking. So over to you, Nesreen.
Thank you so much, John. So may I share my screen, please? Yes. Good afternoon from Egypt. Firstly, I would like to thank you all for the honor and favor of your presence. And a special thank you to the Global School Alliance team, Hannah, Tony, and John, for inviting me to speak today. As John always says, you are the most important people in the world because teaching is the one profession that creates all other professions. Before I start, I would like to just add one word to the theme title, how your global thinking can improve your school. For me, this is me, by the way. I was one of the billion Arabic teachers in the world till 2012. I graduated from the Faculty of Arts, specialized in Arabic language. I had only one-page CV with fair English, no professional development courses, neither any unique skills. Just 12 years of teaching at national and international schools. In 2013, the magic happened since I joined the global education community. Now, in nearly 10 years, I am Ms. Nuruddin, Vice Principal of Arabic Education at British Columbia Canadian International School for students ages 4 up to 18. I have a master's degree in General Quality Management and a high diploma in Quality Education. By the way, all my studies in English. And remember, I'm Arabic teacher. This is how global thinking improved my own professional skills. During the 10 years, I used to use every single global education opportunity to help my students and to improve my career path. I have connected my students with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, visited many schools all over the world. I also hosted our Indian partner school in Egypt 2 times in 2017, also in November 2022, hosted our UK partner school in Egypt in May 2022. I also I also work in International School Award, connecting classroom through global learning, students exchanging program, CUP 26 and 27, and much more. I also have recorded a number of interviews presenting the outcomes and benefits of global education and internationalism. The global thinking benefited the 3 cores of education cycle: teachers, students, and school itself. I will start the benefits for teachers first. The global thinking is an important method of professional development. It improves confidence in classroom and develop leadership skills. It also can help students to improve behavior of learners in classes and improve stimulation through refreshed content and resources, in addition to promote knowledge of other countries and global development. This is the impact of my students, by the way. They had like an international day representing all countries that they studied or read about. Okay, so young people are growing up in a very complex, challenging world. As teachers, we play an important part in equipping them with the skills to take an active, confident role on it. Our students know about people and how diverse they can make connection between the local and the global. This is the content of cultural books from South Korea. The picture on the right, this is our cultural books in South Korea, and the picture on the left, the cultural Korean books items in our school in Egypt. This also encourage inquiring minds and critical thinking. We made lots of video conferences with other school partners. This was with one of our school partners in the UK. Our students also increased knowledge, awareness, and tolerance about other countries, cultures, and languages, and improve confidence in communicating with people from different backgrounds. And remember, in Egypt, we speak Arabic. Also develop literacy skills when writing stories and letters for specific audience. Students begin to develop confidence with the foreign language skills, engaging in international activities within curriculum, motivated and our learners by adding relevance and dynamism to lessons, helped all ages to develop an appreciation of cultural diversity. Okay, this is the UK conference, Global Happiness. We worked on 2 themes: the Sustainable Development Goals, quality education, and health and well-being. I organized it with my colleagues for 12 schools from around the globe, and our lovely UK partners hosted it in the UK. This also enhanced skills that are relevant in a global economy, helped improve motivation, develop core ICT skills. By the way, our students imported and exported their handmade products, okay, to help other students from government schools to continue their learning, specifically in poor countries. I also helped my students to take an action and rule. So each country we visited, we had to visit the country ambassador. So for my school, since we joined the global community, we celebrated our school effort to include international work as a part of the curriculum and helping embed it within our school's culture. And increase for our school as well, an increased profile of the school in the local community, making it more attractive for prospective parents and teachers, providing an extra dimension to students' learning and development, which other schools may not offer as well. Creating important links with schools abroad to exchange knowledge and skills. This is a cultural trip. It was also for 12 countries, and we used to go weekly, to discuss the language skills with other countries. We also gained a high score when the Canadian inspection team evaluate our school performance. Teachers benefit from professional learning and growth through collaboration with colleagues in other countries, embedding the sharing of experience and discovering of innovation and improvement practices from around the world, which can be implemented in your classrooms as well. Participate in international learning, in turn bridging boundaries and opening up exciting opportunities to learn about different cultures in stimulating ways across a range of subject areas. This was Egyptian social studies. Our students representing Egypt using their art and craft work to our colleagues from the UK. We also helped to reduce the performance gap amongst pupils, builds professional capacity in schools, makes the curriculum more stimulating, and improves ethos around the school, improves engagement with the local community, helps school meet the objectives of inspection bodies. This is a certificate that our students gained from our partner school from India. And this is some of the online webinars during the pandemic. This is when our UK schools visited us in March 2022. So also the benefit for the community improves the relationship with parents, brings the local community together, helps the transition from primary to secondary school, develops partnership with local authorities and business. Now, we live in an increasingly globalized world, and connecting with another country is the best way to prepare yourself and your students for fitting into such a world. I love Gandhi's quote, be the change you want to see in the world. And the only tool that can change the world is education. According to a recent study, there will be more change, more competition, and more opportunities for us as educators than ever before. And I expect you all will be doing something different after this webinar. And here is a short journey. Also, when our partner school from India visited us, they posted the news in an Indian newspaper. And this is the feedback letter. This activity, we love India. And this activity I had done with multiple partner schools, okay, on climate change. My favorite activity, COP 26 and 27. We had great opportunities to participate this year and the last year with other countries representing our activities on climate change. We participated with Northern Ireland, with London, with the UK. Also other countries joined us online. And here in Egypt, the ambassador of England invited our students to the British Embassy. Here as well, I would like to show you this short survey. I made it with some of my colleagues to measure the impact of working internationally with other schools, the impact on our students and our community, and also with our schools. And this is, I already attached the link here, and this is the results. I would like to show you this lovely video. This is when we visited our partner school in India, and our partner school students and staff singing the Egyptian national anthem. And this is a report for one of the famous TV channels here in Egypt. I will share it from another way. Here. Can you hear it? Can you hear? Okay.
No, sorry, it's not actually playing, Nazreen. We can't see it or hear it. Did you have it in a separate?
This is the head of government.
Sorry, Nazreen, it's not working.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, we can still hear you, but we
You hear
can't see the video, unfortunately. You're there, Nazreen.
Oh, okay. So, global education is an invaluable means of achieving the very highest standards from our pupils. International education helps improve motivation, also the core ICT skills, and raises the awareness and understanding of different cultures and religions. Nearly 94% of all responses on the survey I did, out of more than 1,400 teachers agreed or strongly agreed that international engagement contributes to learner understanding of their own and other cultures, international education build a good professional capacity in schools. Oh, stop sharing my screen. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Nazreen. I think actually have you managed to stop sharing? It's still shared, I think.
Yes. Yes.
That's it.
Nazreen, that was wonderful, and we can share the TV link because I have seen that, and congratulations, it was a really wonderful overview of the fantastic work you're involved with. So thank you for that. And you're so right about be the change that you want to be. You know, everyone on this call, all of you are the most important people in the world, bringing in that positive change in classrooms. So thank you, Nazreen.
I love this quote, John.
Okay, so we move from Egypt now across to the UK, and we're very proud to introduce Matt Trevor, the Deputy Head Teacher of Woodthorpe Junior and Infant School in Birmingham. So over to you, Matt.
Lovely, John. Thank you ever so much. Thanks ever so much to for everyone else for joining us this afternoon as well. The presentation so far have been fantastic, so it's just been lovely to learn so much. There's a bit of an overview of me that you can see on the screen there. Like John said, I'm a Deputy Head Teacher at a 1-4 entry primary school in Birmingham. If we could just go to the next slide, please. This just gives a little bit of an overview in terms of my teaching background, really. So I've been teaching for 16 years, 6 of which have been in a leadership capacity, which is what I'm currently doing now as a serving Deputy Head Teacher. As well as that, I had 3 terms of 4 years as a staff governor at the school that I work at. And then eventually, I must admit, it was a case of then moving on to a secondary school within the city as well. And now looking after things like safeguarding and other things that obviously are at the heartbeat of everything that we all do. I've got a very keen interest in physical education, school sport and physical activity. That's kind of how I got into the profession to begin with, and still keep a close eye on sport premium funding that we have here in the UK. John did reiterate this earlier on and mention this, and this will form part of my presentation, but I did volunteer at London 2012, at Birmingham 2022, the Commonwealth Games, which are, is fresh off the bat really, and I'll talk about that in a few slides time. And as also mentioned, passion for photography and technology and travel. Photography is not on there, so that all sows the seed really in terms of what I'm going to be talking to you guys about this afternoon. So in terms of the school itself, I work in a 1-4 entry school. There's 1 year group per one class per year group, I should say. So we're talking about just over 200 children, employing about 30 staff. A bit of contextual information: 54% white British, 19% of the children are eligible for free school meals, and then 16% have special educational needs. So broadly in line with the national average across the country, but just to give people a bit of a flavour of the school in which I work at. So just to go into a little bit more detail in terms of why I mentioned London 2012 and Birmingham 2022, it's really the value of collaboration, which I'm preaching to the converted with the people that we've got here. But the value of collaboration is massive. And from my personal perspective of working in the same school now for 15 plus years, it's opportunities like this, it's opportunities like this afternoon, working with the Global School Alliance, that gives you the opportunity to collaborate, keep yourself fresh without feeling like you've got to move from job to job to job. And the experiences that I had 10 years ago and also a couple of months ago within the city in which I work at were invaluable in terms of just collaborating, not only within the games themselves, but then obviously also then disseminating that information both with colleagues and also the children. Believe it or not, the picture on the right hand side, there's a lot of dust on my sunglasses at the moment in the UK here at the moment, but that is actually beach volleyball right in the city centre of Birmingham. So that obviously is never going to happen again. So as always, it's always a case of grabbing whatever opportunity comes your way with both hands. Next slide, please. When I think back to kind of 2016 now, so we're talking sort of 6-7 years ago, when I made the move from class teacher into middle leadership at the school in which I work at, the project that I decided to focus on was how to improve communication with our stakeholders. We haven't been Ofsteded for well over 10 years now in terms of you know, checked that standards are what they should be at schools in this country, for those that are unfamiliar with that. We've got the outstanding accreditation, which is fantastic. Then they kind of leave you alone for a long time, which, you know, has its own problems. So one of the few pointers that they gave us was we need to improve communication with stakeholders. It was particularly in the early years at the time. So I sort of set about thinking, right, my journey with my middle leadership should address that. And this fits like a glove in terms of what I'm talking to you about now in terms of collaboration and global thinking. So what I decided to do is tap into WordPress, which is obviously free. It's a blog platform, and obviously this would be a great way for us as a school to communicate with our parents and carers at class level. At that time I was teaching in year 6, comes towards May time, and they have their SAT examinations. You know, parents really want to play an active role in their children's education. So I found this then to other year groups, and now thank single year group embedded within the website and things like that. So it's been an instrumental way of improving, I suppose, the communication that we have with stakeholders, and then the global aspect has obviously also kicked in those intervening years. If we could just go to the next slide, please. That's great, thank you. So this really just kind of develops what I've just spoken about to you guys in a little bit more detail, really. So from a school perspective, and post 2016 to now, step 1, as I mentioned, was the WordPress, cohort specific communication, making sure that parents know what their children are getting up to in school, and not leaving it to kind of like a biannual parents evening or parents consultation meeting and that's your lot kind of thing. People are busy, professional parents, it's difficult for them to physically set foot in a school. So that was step 1. What we've had since then, step 2, is then using platforms such as Schoolzine, which is a parental engagement platform which incorporates the whole school. It also gives you targeted communication. So obviously if year 3 are having a visit to Alton Towers, for example, then you can send reminders, they're running late, etc., etc. So that information is invaluable in terms of getting a lot of positive feedback from parents. So that was the step 2. Now the step 3 is something that we've had since day 1, but also has really given us this global collaboration and the global aspect, which is Twitter, which I know comes with its own health warning, particularly at the moment. But obviously when used properly, it is an invaluable way of sharing expertise. As I put there at the bottom, the global brand is really important. Communicating with partner schools, which I'll come on in a few minutes. This is something I wanted to share with everyone, really, in terms of for anyone who's right at the start of this process, you can see how it starts at class level. It can then kind of like be filtered through to whole school, and then you can obviously then capture your global audience a little bit further down the line, but they still work hand in hand. Now, around about that same time, so we're talking 6-7 years ago, I was also incredibly fortunate to attend Florence. There's probably people maybe in this meeting who attended the very same meetings. Over in Florence, e-twinning, all about, as you can see there, citizenship, a new ethic for the 21st century. Obviously, it's lovely to visit such a beautiful place as Florence, but what I came away from my first experience at working with the British Council and finding out what global collaboration was all about is, and it's the same here, we've got very like-minded people who all were very forward-thinking in what they wanted to do. They wanted to bring the world into their workplace. They wanted the children to have the very best opportunities moving forward, and to make as much progress and to gain as much exposure to different opinions. And this really opened the door, gave me lots of contacts from people that went there for the weekend. And then at that point, I was coming back into school thinking, right, we want to have a little bit of this. We want to make sure that we have some sort of plan of action, really. So if we go on to the next slide, please. So this is where, using the British Council's platform at the time to kind of search for partner schools, we were lucky enough to come across Motherwell School, which is near Kampala, the capital in Uganda. So this is a partnership that's been going now for 6 or 7 years, fully embedded. I'll go into a little bit more detail in a moment in terms of what we've got up to over the last 7 years and what we plan to do, you know, in the future. Where we were at, kind of, I guess, at the point of going to Florence in terms of bringing the world to our children was very much confined to the classroom. So in the UK, we have News Rounds, which is funded through the BBC. It's fantastic. I watched it today when I was covering a Year 5 class. The content is absolutely superb. The children really enjoy it, and it does cover many aspects of the curriculum. But obviously, fundamentally, it's not personalised in any way. It's very generic to them, and some of them, you know, may well switch off because they might not think that these global matters apply to them. So the true value of a partnership is actually you really get to know the school, you really get to know the children, the staff within that school, and you really are personifying it, which I think is invaluable for children, particularly at primary level. If you go on to the next slide, that'd be great. Thank you. So this gives a little bit of a flavour in terms of what we got up to with Motherwell since our partnership started. So it started with pen pals, swapping letters. So obviously there was a literary element to this, writing for a purpose. And this was using the postal service, which, you know, it did take 3-4 weeks sometimes, which, you know, children can be very impatient when they're waiting for replies, let's put it that way. So it had its own barriers, I think, as we look back on it now in 2023. But I also think there's still a time and a place for more traditional methods, as opposed to where we're in a world now where, you know, emails go instantaneously. So we've looked at things such as comparing and contrasting the school day, the exchange of Christmas and Easter cards. So it, you know, it brought in a real kind of relevance to why, you know, similar to writing for a purpose, it kind of children really enjoyed both writing them and also receiving them as well, which was lovely to see. And then we also looked at the school curricula as well. So not only did we compare and contrast the school day, excuse me, including things like climate and, you know, even that, you know, what time does it get dark, for example, at this time of year in Uganda compared to the UK. Questions like that the children really were interested in and intrigued by. We also looked at the curricula as well. So, and a good example of that is their national sport is woodball. So it was lovely that when we had a visit from a couple of members of their staff, they brought woodball equipment over. So it's really nice to get that kind of cultural element over into the school. And there you can just see just a couple of screen captures of tweets just to show some of the examples. It was really interesting though, because the writing standards over in Uganda are second to none. So really, right from, you know, 4, 5, 6 years of age, their children have the most beautiful handwriting. So those are conversations that then provoke, you know, and involve the literacy coordinator to think, I wonder what these guys do actually to get such good results at such a young age. And these are things that we haven't yet fully explored because of COVID, but it just shows you how the impact can be across the whole curriculum and school. Next slide, please. So yeah, in terms of COVID, this is generally now, I mean, a couple of things that I wanted to kind of put together on here is it did bring the world together. Obviously, it's always good to work together, to collaborate. And I think even at a time when we're in dire need as a global community, the communication methods on the back of this have improved dramatically across all sectors. But particularly when you think of education and the fact that sometimes we can be very resilient to change, let's put it that way, to put it kind of bluntly, really. It's fast-tracked us all technologically by a good 10 to 20 years. Lots of people have said that. We would never have had remote blended learning in English schools and probably most global schools as soon as we have, if it wasn't for the fact that we faced the unprecedented issue of a global pandemic. The communication and collaboration is far more efficient now than it was pre-COVID. You know, things that we're enjoying this evening may well have not happened as frequently. The quality of delivery and being able to share content of such variety and such rich content probably wouldn't have happened pre-COVID. So there are a few positives that have obviously crept in from obviously a disastrous few years as a global community. So if we could just move on to the next slide, please. So if I'm going to relate that within global thinking specifically, I've touched upon the technology. So efficiency and accessibility of communication has dramatically improved over recent years. I think someone else has already touched upon that as well, which is really important, particularly if you're having a global partnership with areas of the world that might not be blessed with the technology in the first place. So more and more people are having access to it, and it is becoming more affordable, which is really good news. I touched upon this as well. Traditional methods of communication, such as letter writing, there is still a place for that. So even in the post-COVID landscape, you know, we will still be writing letters to Motherwell, for example, because, you know, I think even us as adults do enjoy to receive a letter through the post, as long as it's not a bill, compared to, you know, the constant emails that we can sometimes get. So there's definitely still a place for that. The appetite for global collaboration seems to be stronger than ever. I think that's on the back of the fact that as a global community, we've had to tackle quite negative things recently. And as a global community, we want to look after each other, and we want to obviously come out the other side. So I think we should really dine out on that as well. Uganda specifically suffered some of the longest school closures globally. I know we're all affected by it, but I know speaking to them and keeping in constant dialogue with them throughout, they had a long time of their children not being in school. So obviously they then face the difficult task of ensuring that pupils catch up, return to school, you know, fighting the same fight that we're all fighting, really. We're a rights respecting school at the moment, so everything's centered around the rights of the child with UNICEF. What we're doing at the moment is we're wanting to implement that over in Uganda, over at Motherwell. So this is something that we're looking to do over the next 12 months. We've just been accredited with our gold rights respecting, which we're really pleased about. So what we want to do is use our expertise now to kind of send those same messages over in Uganda. Exactly the same with the Daily Mile as well, which many people may well have heard. So the Daily Mile is really safeguarding 15 minutes of physical activity for children. This fits hand in hand with mental health, which I'll touch upon with the next point, particularly post-pandemic. We're trying to make sure that children get physically and mentally as agile as they possibly can. So I've done a lot of work directly with the Daily Mile in this country, and we want to take that back over to Uganda. Obviously, I don't need a lot of resources. It's not a case of having to pack resources in a suitcase to ferry out to Motherwell. The Daily Mile says it's fairly simplistic, but it's making sure that that time is safeguarded over in Uganda. And the mental health and well-being focus, I'm sure it is high on the agenda for every single one of us, whether we work in a school, whether we work in whatever area of society. Mental health, the well-being is important, specifically for children. So next slide, please. In terms of the pursuit of sustainable change, one of the things that I would say is, from a school's perspective, you do want to try and get the backing of your school's leadership team on board with this. I was fortunate, I suppose, that my timeline sat, as I've already mentioned, when I went into middle leadership, and now I'm in senior leadership over the last 6 or 7 years. So I was fortunate enough to be one of those decision makers. But the other important thing is the fact, with whatever level you're working at in a particular school at a given time, we're preaching to the converted here. So your voice is as important as anyone else's, really. And it's really important that those messages get sent across to schools globally to make sure that these changes do happen, because we all know you have to have a certain mindset, and a lot of us will show these qualities both inside and outside of their professional careers, so to speak. So it's really important, whatever you're interested in, that you kind of bring that into your workplace as well. Next slide, please. I wanted to touch upon the ripple effect, because I think this is one of the biggest benefits, really, of global thinking. So I've talked about the fact that you want to get the support of the senior leadership team within your school. You want to make sure that you get it embedded within the school SIP, which is School Improvement Plan. All schools globally will have something of this nature. So you really want to make sure that the global thinking is embedded within that. And it isn't just that, oh, we'll do that. Oh, you enjoyed that 2-minute, that 2-hour meeting. That's great. But actually, there's a legacy that actually lives on from this. And there is a sustainable change, an impact from a global thinking perspective, which is vital. So the ripple effect from the school in which I work at the moment is, we're a Platinum Motive Stars school for traveling, for our travel plan. So this is the fact that we think about how children travel to school. We think about the environment. A recent road audit around by our school was conducted by children to get that pupil voice involved, and on the back of their comments there were traffic calming measures that were put in. So it's really nice to think that it's not children thinking, oh, we've done something but nothing happens. It costs tens of thousands of pounds for those traffic calming measures to be put in place on the back of things that they spotted, cars parking dangerously on the corner of roads and things of that nature. So this is all the ripple effect, pupil voice, global thinking. I've touched upon the gold right respecting, fantastic. If any schools in this country or globally want to get involved with that, I thoroughly recommend it. The gold school games market has come about from my passion for PESPA, PE school sport and physical activity. So this is something that's been embedded within the school for a long time, but hopefully you can start to see how these all correlate together. We're an international school with the British Council. Something that we did only literally a couple of weeks ago involved with the child press was, and this once again is an example of pupil voice, is we were the first school, I think, in the UK to actually have a publication through child press who are based over in Amsterdam. So we had a few people fly over from Amsterdam. Our children in year 6 produced booklets. There was a yeah, it was brilliant. Their parents got to come in and see them. So child press is another avenue to definitely kind of have a look at, and obviously that's a great example of global thinking and pupil voice, and basically ticking so many boxes by just doing one activity. Sharing good practice on a global scale, which is what we're doing right now. So it's really, really important to kind of safeguard the links. I've got loads of kind of email addresses and contacts that I got off that trip to Florence, and they're really valuable because you've got highly skilled people, just like we've got on this call now, who can all help raise standards. And then the other thing is the personal links. I mean, I talked about this earlier on. We're all individual as well. So for example, at the moment, I've had a good link over the last sort of probably 4 or 5 years with Boston Public Schools over in Massachusetts. And that has been looking at PESPA, looking at PE, school sport and physical activity. This was pre-COVID. Post-COVID, I want to go back and I want to look at the same thing, but I also want to filter that through into mental health as well, because they're finding very similar traits to what we're finding in this country. So I want to basically go over, see what they're doing, pinch some really good ideas and hopefully disseminate some good ideas back to them as well. And then also I've just talked about, there's a contact that I've got in Doha over in Qatar as well. That's a colleague, brilliant colleague who I used to work with, who's gone over there to teach. So it's really important to think about those personal links and keep those contacts, so that, you know, you never know when you might need them going forward. So always keep those doors slightly ajar. Next slide, please. Now, I'm almost at the end of the presentation. This is the penultimate slide. This is about 2 minutes long, this video. It may or may not work. We'll give it a go in a moment, but this is just a lovely way of potentially hooking your school community in a global, with regard to a global event. This was the Commonwealth Games last year. We'll see if it works. Fingers crossed. If it doesn't, it's not a problem. Thank you. We might not be able to get sound on it, but I can just do a quick kind of overview.
I think the world can expect 3 things from the Games here. First of all, a wonderful sporting festival in some brilliant venues. Secondly, it can actually expect a brilliant business exhibition and cultural exhibition, which are important. But perhaps the most important thing of all, it can expect a brilliant welcome in one of the most culturally diverse places on Earth.
The countdown to Birmingham 2022 starts right now. Action!
I say we tell them the truth. We read our ancestors' manifestos and channeled them into stages like these. We are the artists, the activists, the protesters, the baristas, the CEOs, the cleaners, the firefighters, the police, the young people, the elderly. We are the athletes. We built this city.
And that's a British from Birmingham.
The superstar of world athletics. He remains
Brilliant. Thank you for sharing that, and especially with the technology as well, because I know it's not easy. So I've got that video I just wanted to share with you, because I guess as a school, I won't get a better hook than that probably ever, because obviously the Commonwealth Games don't come to your city very often. But from a school's perspective, it was culture, which I think you can take away from that. It wasn't just sport. It wasn't just, going to another school and having like a sports day and kind of celebrate the Commonwealth Games that way. It was really digging deep into the culture. So we did look at the sport. We had a link with some schools in Trinidad and Tobago. So we were kind of like we were trading sports and looking at the cricket aspect over there. We also looked at the arts as well, which was fantastic. So there were lots of events that were going on within the city to sort of share the Commonwealth Games. And yeah, that's just a nice way just to kind of show how that can really hook. Well, it hooks anyone really. It's a great marketing video pre-games to really get people thinking, right, yeah, I want to get engaged with this. So just to kind of finish things off then, the key takeaways, excuse me, global thinking starts locally. I think someone actually had that exact same strapline pretty much earlier on as well. So before you think kind of globally, think locally. Think of the analogy that I had there with starting with those blog sites, within classes before opening it up to the school and then opening up your school to the world, basically, which is the kind of the way that you want to be thinking about doing things. Global priorities need to be embedded within the school's improvement plan. You do want to have support from the senior leadership team, but that comes with a health warning as well. If you've got interest there at whatever level, make sure your voice is heard because it's important. Technology and infrastructure, is there and more accessible than ever. So we should really dine out and lean on that. And also don't be afraid of failure as well, because it won't always be successful. So I'm sure we've all probably done things and had projects that haven't had the outcome that we thought that they would. But if you don't try, you'll never know. So it's important to be brave. Passionate, forward-thinking, visionary minds are what we've basically got on this call, really. I've said it 2 or 3 times that I'm preaching to the converted here, but there'll be lots of people that won't see the benefit, and it's important that you drive that message across when trying to implement global thinking. And then another final point is the global community has never been smaller than it has right now. People have touched upon how travel, now travel has opened up, and I suppose having not had it for a couple of years, it's kind of made us probably think how we shouldn't take it for granted. So thank you for listening. Really appreciate your time.
That was fantastic, Matt. Thank you so much. And it's wonderful you used that important word, passionate, because I think that unites us all in the Global School Alliance, that really passionate commitment and belief in the transformational power of global education. So that was really, really wonderful. A big thank you to our 4 contributors. They were really amazing. Thank you, Shahnaz, really fantastic work. To Sorsen, great you can join us from Tunisia. To Nesreen, the wonderful Nesreen. And we've just had a message, Nesreen, from David Smith, who sends his best wishes to you and says thank you for all your support for the Northern Ireland work. So that was great, great. And thank you, Matt Trevor, for really wonderful presentations. We are very proud and delighted to have you in the Global School Alliance. And for those of you on the call, please get involved with the Global School Awards. It's a really great way to develop and embed some really powerful global learning. So we are partners with you on your own global journey. Thank you, and do stay in touch. And over to you, Tony.
I was wondering if there was any questions for the speakers while you've got them here with the wealth of experience they've got. Does anybody want to? I can't see any in the chat, but if anyone would like to put their hand up or unmute and ask questions of the current speakers we have, please feel free. Would anyone like to ask any questions? If you want to put your hand up or put it in the chat, and say make the most of having these inspirational people here with us right now. I know everyone's quiet. We do find you. Is it that time
that's a good sign, Tony.
I think
we're all in this together. We've heard that expression before, but I think now more than ever, it's so important to have that. We talk about the great conversation of humankind. It's so important that all of us share, develop, and embed best practice. That's what it's all about. We're all learning from each other every day. So again, thank you to our speakers. And thank you to everyone joining us today.
Yeah, thank you everybody. And like I say, before you go, like I say, if no one has anything else to say, this conversation can carry on in the platform, it can carry on our Facebook page, anywhere. Just keep communicating. Come to the next conference. We're doing this every month. And again, when I close down, when we leave, there'll be a little survey at the end. If you could fill that in for us, that also helps get your certificate for attendance. So unless anyone wants anything else to say, I want to say thank you very much and good night, goodbye, good evening, good morning, whatever it is.
And give yourselves a round of applause. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye for now.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Nazreen. Thank you, Shahnaz. Thank you, Sausan.
Thank you.